YouTube, B Smokehouse back here with you, and today we are going to do a sandwich that I've done here on the channel before. This sandwich, you know it as the McRib from that restaurant. Now, one of my favorite sandwiches, however, the past few years, I have come to learn that sometimes the meat that we are served at fast food joints isn't what it should be. That's all I'm gonna say about that. So this is my take on the McRib. I have done this, I believe it's been a few years, but this is a sandwich that always comes across, it hits in all the right places. You can go and look up the history on the McRib. I think now it's brought back as a seasonal item, but it used to be a long-standing item on the Mickey D's menu. Right, but I'm doing it my way, using real meat, of course. So the way I do it is I will take a rack of spare ribs. In this case, we got a nice rack of spare ribs. I like this rack because the intramuscular marbling we have on this, I've gotten as much fat off as possible. There was chunks of fat sitting on the top of this. This is going to work just fine. Why not baby backs? I suppose you could do this with baby backs, but baby backs are a bit leaner in nature, aka loin back ribs. Now, real simple. So I have squared this off. I've gotten all of that excessive fat off. For this recipe, I do remove the membrane. Membrane is removed. You see all these fat pockets, right? I have tried this recipe before, leaving that membrane on, letting this fat under that membrane kind of come feed these ribs. I am purposely going to overcook these because I need to be able to pull these bones out so I can get a clean meat section and put it on a bun. That is what I'm doing. I did my pickles last night. I did my buns last night. I got to cook them off here today. We're going with a Japanese Hokkaido, aka milk bread style bun. I've got, I'm going to use store-bought barbecue sauce, and I'm going to chop up some fresh white onions, and that'll be my version of this rib sandwich. Now, let's go ahead and get this seasoned. Simple recipe. The longest time this will take will be on my smoker. I don't have a fire starter yet, so I'll be doing that here shortly. We're going to go in first with some Kosher Salt. This is Diamond Crystal. Nice light layer on the back. Holding that shaker up high. That's a nice light layer. And then we're going to go on with that black pepper. Light layer. With that black pepper. There's nothing I've done here so far that you can't do on your own at your house. The point is to get out in your backyard and cook something. That's not necessarily what I'm looking for. Alright, so these will sit here for the next 20-30 minutes while I get a fire started. I'm going to be sure to go ahead and give that a nice pat in. Make sure I get these edges. Alright, get those edges. Bit simplistic in my seasoning, but I really want to be able to taste this pork along with that barbecue sauce that I'm going to be using. This will sit here for the next 20 minutes. Let that salt activate, and then I'm going to get a fire started. I'll bring you guys along when I'm getting ready to put these on my smoker. Stay tuned. Alright, today we're going to be rolling with a combination of hickory and post oak. Since they are both hardwoods, should not have a problem establishing our cold bed. We got some nice smoke rolling. I got these ribs on early when I was starting the fire. These have only been on here for the past 2 minutes. I've got that fatty side with that gristle towards the fire. It is highly important for this cook that we render out a lot of that fat. Only until then that meat releases will be when we can take the bones out of this set of spare ribs. So let's get that down so we can get back to cooking. Got some nice smoke rolling. I fancy getting that smoke going. I got a nice small fire. It's pumping out some heat because it's about half lump charcoal and a few briquettes of Kingsford that I had left, right? I actually took some out of one of my other grills to get this fire started. We're gonna let this roll. I say about 3 hours, 4 hours till we wrap. We got nice color. Stay tuned. All right, we're at about 2 hours in. I like the color that we're getting. However, I think we can get a bit deeper, darker color. After all, that is flavor. I'm still rolling a nice small fire, rolling with a split of Post Oak on there right now. We're going to keep rolling for at least another hour, max 2 hours, before I even think about wrapping. It's looking pretty good. I might in the next hour come and flip these around. I got this thicker portion towards the fire. Again, we're running no water in the pan. We're going to keep cooking. Stay tuned. All right, it's been right at about 4.5 hours. I like the color that we're getting, and plus some of this fat is starting to render. So now we're going to shoot for some more rendering and some tenderness. Again, I am absolutely going to overcook these on purpose. I want the bones falling out because when you put a slice of this meat on the sandwich, you don't want to have to maneuver around the bone. So I'm going with my favorite one of my favorite store-bought sauces, Sweet Baby Ray's. That's spicy. And so then now I'm going to get some down here on the foil paper, and then we're going to go meat side down. These ribs, I'll give them a little moisture in the wrap, not too much. I don't want to wash off all my seasonings. And then we're going to go meat side down. Look at the bottom of that. There's no burning. Most definitely that some of that fat is still tough, but that's fine. We're going to work on that right now. All right? Some of that fat up top that was nearest the fire is starting to render. That's why we have this moist look. Again, I'm not going for presentation on these. I am going for absolute tenderness. Real simple. Get these wrapped up. I'll get them back on the pit. And then I'll bring you guys back when I'm pulling or when I'm beginning to probe these to make sure that they are tender. One of the things I will definitely be looking for is the pullback from these bones. Don't want to struggle when I go to start pulling these bones out. So that's how we're looking. And now we're going to go for some tenderness. Stay tuned. All right, our ribs have just come off the grill. Not completely done yet. I'm going to go ahead and get them sauced down. They are tempering around that 200-degree mark. I'm going to sauce them down and get them back on the smoker in the hottest part of my smoker so the sauce can tack up. And then from there, I'm going to pull them out and cool slightly, and then we'll start pulling these bones out and portioning them out for these sandwiches. Not much work left. Hardest part of this cook was the cook itself. Alright, you see how my seasoning is staying put. That's exactly what I want. Now, kind of lost a bit of color by wrapping, right? Texas crutch, using that foil. So now we're gonna try and get some of that color back by putting this in the foil wrap on the hottest side of my smoker. Let this glaze tack up, and I might hit it again. I think when I pull it out and I get them cut up in their portions and pull those bones, level of flavor. Stay tuned. Alright, here's how we're looking. I went ahead and took all those bones out off camera. As you can see, they came out pretty clean. I'm going to set this under the broiler for a few seconds, see what that char looks like. Might go longer if the char is not to where I like it. So I can go ahead and build these sandwiches so I can sit down and eat. It's been a long day. This took a little longer than I thought. Maybe loin back or baby back ribs may have been a better option. However, I really like these sandwiches with these spare ribs. So let's see what we can get. Again, I did leave some of that gristle in, so you might see me cutting through it on here before I get it on a sandwich. I will take that gristle out. So let's see, I want to do about 2 rib sections. So let's see if we can make that happen. Yep, definitely cuts tender. Can you see that? It's looking pretty good. It's still juicy. Still pockets of rendered fat in there. That's what we're looking for. Let's get another one cut. Stay tuned. Alright, let's put mine together. Alright, so I've got a nicely toasted buns. This is the bread that I made. On top is everything mushroom seasoning. I couldn't find the everything bagel seasoning. But again, these buns are Japanese milk bread. Common name Hokkaido. It's pretty good for burgers, pretty good for pretty much anything, sandwiches. Alright, little sweet baby rays. Let's get that mixed around on there. Don't really need much. I didn't have to add that, right? So now, these beautiful homemade pickles that I made, we're going down. These were made last night. It's a quick pickle. A little vinegar, some water, a little sugar, some salt. I go in a bottle of this container with the garlic, bay leaf, red peppercorn, and black peppercorn flakes. Alright, and then we're going to top it off with some onions. Alright, as many as you want. And then I'm going to take my favorite piece here. I did leave some of that gristle in. It's edible. You can chew through it or take it out. I'm going to choose to leave mine in. And we topping that thing like this. There you have it. This is my version of the McRib. I'm going to load up to get some closing photos right quick, and I'll bring you guys back for a taste test. Alright, I went ahead and got all my pictures. So here's how that sandwich is looking. So let's recap what we did. I had a rack of spare ribs that I took out, gave them a nice trim. I did not get that trim on camera. I took them out, went ahead and seasoned them down with salt, pepper, and some seasoned salt. Let them set, let that salt get to work, and then I went ahead and started a fire. For this cook, I used my Old Country Wrangler, using Post Oak and Hickory combination of wood splits. I then got the rack of ribs on. We ran at an average range of between 250 and 275 degrees. Once we hit about 4.5, 5 hours in, and I got the color that I liked, we went ahead and wrapped these spare ribs. They stayed in the wrap for an hour. Got them out of the wrap, pulled the bones out. I did that off camera. Then got them under the broiler while copiously hitting them with some barbecue sauce. Got them back out, sliced them for you guys on camera, and this is my sandwich. Now, I must say, I did leave that gristle in. Probably should have sliced that out. However, I'm cool with it. I love rib tips. My butchery isn't on par. I am still learning. I'm still practicing. So, let's give it a taste. Oh yeah. So let's talk about it. It's tangy, it's sweet. We got some freshness because of those pickles, because of those onions. To me, this is a very simple sandwich. This bread assists in making the sandwich. Again, we're really talking about something that is really the sum of all its parts combined. Really delicious. Probably could have let these ribs stay on that smoker probably another 30, 45 minutes. However, we've got some high winds and I'm losing sunlight. But in the end, what I'll do, I've got 1 or 2 of these sandwiches I can take to work with me. So I'll eat on it for the rest of the week. However, still delicious, still one of my favorite sandwiches. Let's get another bite before I hang it up with you guys. See that? And bread's really good. That fat has been rendered. I'm getting gristle. I don't mind the gristle, but others might. I'm gonna go ahead and sit down and enjoy my dinner.
For all of you guys that have hung out with me here for this video, thank you. Appreciate the support. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Until the next video, Be Smokehouse out.